welcome to the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. I'm your host, Wienanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, spaghetti and ice cream lover, travel junk, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a raw and deep level. And today I have PT Rebecca with me. Rebecca helps other women to pursue a healthier and happier lifestyle. As a PT, she has a different approach, and that's what I love about her. She's not only focusing on the physical, but also on the mental aspect of it. She is so much fun. She is a cat mom just like me, and we share the same vision when it comes to a happier and healthier life. So in this episode, we are going to talk about the mental side of that. Okay, so hello, Rebecca, and welcome to my show. I'm so happy to have you. And we've talked a little bit before, and you said that you're going to ramble and everything. So that's completely fine. I love that. So we can have like a good conversation and a fun conversation, because that's the most important part.
Exactly. So, I know. I look like the ghost of High Wycombe right now.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do, where you come from, how you are, how did you get where you are today?
You're already doing it.
I'm already doing it.
Right, tell me about myself. That's always hard. Well, I'm 30. I turned 30 this year. I know, I don't look it with my radiant glowing face. I spent most of my life in High Wycombe, which is a little town just outside of London. And what else? Well, because of the pandemic, I did work at a charity, which was local, which is lovely. However, I left, and a job as a PT at a local business unfortunately fell through. Gyms were struggling, and I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to set up my own personal training business. I became a personal trainer in 2017, and I'm very passionate about mental health. I personally have ADHD, and exercise has basically saved my life. So I thought, you know what, I'm back at home anyway. What if not now, when? So this year, further qualifications, and I've set up my company, Passionate Pursuit.
Awesome. I love your name.
Passionately pursuing a healthier, happier you.
Yes, that's great. So you said that exercise basically saved your life. So how can you tell me a bit about that?
Going on a bit, cutting a very long mental health story short, since I was young, I did have mental health difficulties, and I've been diagnosed from manic depression to borderline personality disorder, mismedicated, generally struggling. And I don't think, as most people will know, that I had many positive outlets for it. I mean, especially growing up. So when I was 24, I started a gym, and man, was it good, like getting the adrenaline out. I was pumped, lad, tiny arms, but they were like, ugh. And it was the first positive outlet I had for exercise. So it started from there. Like, it was, you can't become healthy and then continue all your negative outlets, which would be drinking, smoking, generally not caring what I did to my body or its effects. So it was gradual, very gradual, but that's how it started.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So you noticed a huge difference with your mental health and exercising. Now you know a little bit more about it because you are a PT, and obviously you know about healthy living and mindset. So in what way has it affected your mindset? How can you describe it? What exercise does to you?
I love a good analogy. Well, it's like when you start to be healthier, like I wanted to get stronger. And that meant at first I was disheartened because I couldn't lift heavy weights. I'd look at other people and compare myself, or be like, why don't I have abs, or why am I not that strong? But I continued to do it. And then all of a sudden I got stronger. I mean, at first I felt weak, but the muscles built up and I could lift heavier. And I suddenly realized mentally it's the same. Life had thrown a lot of crap at me, and it broke me down mentally. But as I started to make decisions that helped me carry that load, I could carry heavier. I could deal with things easier.
Yeah.
But it meant having to make the decision that I had value and that I was worth something, because you don't really want to pursue a healthier lifestyle if you don't really care. So it really did start doing that, like from making those small little disciplines, I started to realize, that I had value, and it was amazing. I was choosing to do it first as a positive outlet for mental health, then a bit vanity. I was like, I want to be strong and have abs and look awesome. But I became so happy, and I wasn't expecting that. I learned to love myself. And I was like, who knew this was part of the journey?
Yeah.
I mean, by no means was it a fast experience, but from having literally no value of myself to now being like, I'm awesome with my cats. Like, it doesn't matter. I feel like I now am so passionate about changing other people's lives with it.
That's amazing. That is great. So you've been diagnosed with multiple mental disorders. Do you have them, if I can say, like, do you still have them, or are you like it's diagnosed wrong back then, or how?
It was diagnosed wrong back then. ADHD is a bit slow to find out. I think most people, including myself, thought it was just something little boys had at school and they grew out of. Turns out it's not at all. It's actual brain, not disorder, but different. Your frontal lobe is different. So neurotransmitters, you're just wired differently. But in women, it can be harder. So they thought I'd BPD. I didn't. I actually ended up paying a lot of money to go to a Harley Street in London, a very expensive and fancy psychologist, to officially be like, right, what do I have? Yeah. He was like, you have ADHD. And I was like, nah. But he was like, no, you do. And the medication you've been put on is actually going to give you worse side effects. Wow. So I was like, oh, well, I've been on them for 4 years, so that's fun. So I, coming off them, that in some ways it's good, because I suddenly read up about ADHD. A lot of people will go, oh, I feel like that. I'm like, believe me, you'll know if you have it.
Yeah.
And when I found out more about it, I found out so much more about myself, which made sense. So it's like, oh, that's why. And now, when before any diagnosis I had, I never got better. It'd always end up the same. Now, I'm much better understanding. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's great. So not many women have it, or it's difficult to diagnose it with women. What would you say the symptoms are? Because or why is it more difficult to diagnose a woman than a guy?
I think different effects. That you can have the hyperactive disorder part, which people assume is just 24/7 buzzing around, and then you get the disassociation, like you're always in your own little fantasy world, or combined, which I have. I think men, it's quite affected by hormones. So testosterone in men, it can make them more hyperactive, a bit more angry sometimes, which is a stereotype, but it can make them, with those hormones, just more impulsive. Yeah. For women, I think it's harder because we're more aware of trying to control, like that time of the month and stuff, that you're being crazy. So women are used to trying to rein it in. For me, it's being very foggy headed. Like, if people say, when you forget things, write a list. I'm like, I hate that list. I will lose the list. I won't listen to the list. It won't work. My brain, I'll try, but it doesn't make sense. And hyperactive part is just, I annoy myself. Like, my poor cats deal with me. I'm like, throw the cats around, like, it's weird because it can be fun and it can be childish, but it's obviously not always appropriate. So people are a bit like, you're being annoying. And I'm like, I know, but I can't stop. Exercise is a great outlet for that, because then I exhaust myself. A bit like a child you're trying to put to bed. It's like, just make them run around and then they'll go to sleep. That's what I do to myself.
Oh, that's kind of, well, it's good that you know it now for yourself, that, exercising is your outlet.
but it's also kind of sad, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Like,
It
yeah. How do you cope with that mentally? I mean, it's hard for me to understand that. I mean, you are aware of it, so like you are using exercise as an outlet, but still, you have it. So how do you deal with that?
is difficult. I think I always felt different and I don't always feel like I fit in. And I think a lot of people who struggle mentally, even if you're not chemically depressed, when you're depressed, you relate more to other people who know how you're feeling. So it can be hard. Like, I've been ill this week and I haven't been able to do exercise, and I have been just like a bottled tornado. I'm like, ugh, binge watching Game of Thrones, never seen it, so that's good. But no, it is difficult. I personally like writing. So a long time ago, I started a blog, and I write poetry, and I try to find other outlets as well. But I think I've just remind myself, because I would always say I want to be like normal people. I want to think normally. I want to be able to have a conversation where I'm not always sort of the funny, odd one. And I've just realized it's okay to be unique. It's okay to be a bit odd. And it's good to just be me and not try to be like everyone else. So
Yeah, exactly.
you learn, but it's difficult to get to 30. I've only found out I had ADHD for about nearly 3 years. So it's a long journey, but that's why what I have learned, I'd like to help others along the way with my wisdom a little bit, just to help them, nudge them along that path of exercise. Scientifically helps, chemically, but also you have no idea the other parts of this journey that you're going to discover about yourself. So.
Yeah, that's true. Like, even on my own weight loss in the beginning, you're just focused on losing weight, but then all those other aspects are coming to it. Like you said, loving yourself, and just other areas of your life are starting to change as well. And it's just incredible, but no one teaching you that, because most programs are focused on, no, you need to follow a meal plan and you need to follow a workout, and then you look a certain way, instead of dealing with it mentally. But I want to go back what you said about that and that you are just being yourself. And I was talking with my partner about that yesterday, actually, because I was like, because I had another conversation with another woman about this as well, because she said, like, we are working in a way that not every clinic does, and not like most people would do. So she was a little bit careful with saying that, and I was like, but that's a good thing, because you are acting differently, because you are treating people differently, you get different outcomes. If you are trying to be like everybody else, and if you are trying to educate everybody the same way, then you get the same outcome. Then you get the general population of just individuals, but who are kind of the same. And I think it's a good thing to be different. I mean, I love people who are considered different, because I'm like, no, you are just you, and other people are afraid to be themselves because they want to be the same as everybody else. And I'm like, no, you should be yourself. You should be weird. You should be dancing when you're standing in the line. Sometimes I hear music and then I'm starting to dance, but then you see people watching, and I'm like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I love to dance. I want to dance, so I'm going to dance. And people want to do it, but hold themselves back because they think too much about what other people think. And I think if we just be weird or crazy, then life could be so much better, right?
So much more fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that you are doing that as well. Like, don't apologize for being you.
No, you have to learn. And I think it's with society, even on starting on a weight loss journey or whatever reason you start to do exercise or eat healthier, There's a lot of unlearning. Like I did photography, and
Cool. I love that.
I learned a lot about editing photos in magazines. So I knew from a young age these women and men weren't real, and if they were paid a lot of money to look that way. If we were all paid the same amount of money to look that way, we would get close to, without the genetic blessing to have, we'd look that way. But it's unlearning, like when you look in the mirror, that you're not going to wake up with this perfect body, but you are perfectly you. It's like unlearning in your head when you look at yourself and go, oh, I don't like that. It's like, but why? And then I'm like, because in my head, when I'm scrolling or looking at advertisements, I'm thinking, oh, I should look like that. I'm like, no, shouldn't look like anyone but myself. I mean, ultimately, we're all going to get old and it's all going to go wrong at some point. So, like, why not just be happy? And at some point, you'll look back at pictures where you used to hate yourself and go, man, I look good. But at the time, you hated how you looked. Yeah. So it's unlearning, which I think is hard. It's like, not a cult, but when people come out of something where you're being brainwashed, you have to unlearn. It's a process, and mentally quite difficult. It is. Exercise is a big one. I mean, if you ask most people why they want to exercise, it's because they want to look good, not feel good. That's not their first.
No, that's true. Luckily, I want to exercise because I want to feel good. Like when I exercise, I feel strong. I feel in control. I feel sexy sometimes. Depends on the day. Because sometimes I'm just sweating and I look like a pig. Well, that's what I think. And then I'm like, oh my God, I look gross, But other days I'm like, oh my God, I look good. I look strong. I look sexy. Like, yeah, I am here. And I don't get that same feeling with anything else. It's really exercise. And exercise it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to lift heavy weights an hour every single day. I mean, it's just walk.
Anything.
It can be anything.
Walking. Yeah, walking, hiking, going on a walk with your friends, going outside in nature, which I think this year people are really appreciating after being stuck inside. It's like, right, it's not raining. But in England, oh, it's not raining, let's get outside. And just talking to people, and they're like, oh, I'm not doing exercise. It's like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. Even cleaning the house can be an exercise.
Oh, that is one of the biggest exercises. It makes me think of the movie Stepford Wives when they're like, Hoover. And I'm like, no, seriously, that is a workout.
Yeah.
Doing that. It doesn't have to be following, some big workout HIIT regime or anything. They're not bad. But if you're not feeling up to it, literally just 10 minutes of walking around. Like some people who don't know where to start, I mean, not too crude, but I'll go, oh, every time you go to the bathroom, if it's, not weird, depending on your office, do 10 squats.
Yeah, or that's what I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah, when you have some of the people I know with the best butts, they're like, yeah, just squat every time I do my teeth, or I'm like, just do that. It doesn't have to be much. And I learned about something recently, which was like, oh, I'm not going to remember. That's another thing about ADHD, remembering words, but it's basically non-exercise thermic, burning calories through things like fidgeting, walking, and I fidget so much. And people don't even realize by just fidgeting, like moving about, or I'm forgetful, so the amount of times I go up and down the stairs, that's a workout in itself.
Exactly,
You are burning a lot of calories without even knowing it.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm cleaning my house, I'm busy for like 4 to 5 hours. It's quite big, but also because sometimes I take a break. But let's say I'm cleaning for like 4 hours, and it's like you said, going up and down, and vacuuming the floor, and then you're moving. And sometimes I try to focus on my posture because that's important. Otherwise, it will be a bad workout. But yeah, I'm tired after that. I'm like, oh my God, like I am not going to do anything anymore today because I've cleaned the house.
I think it's one of the biggest workouts. I clean my grandparents' house every now and then, and I'm like, man, my upper body kills. Yeah, but I'm also probably not the best of my back. I'm like this. No, posture,
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think is the most common mistake that people make who want to start that journey or in the health journey anyway?
Well, I think it doesn't matter why you start it, like if it is just to look good. But I think the most common mistake would be comparing. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm lucky. I'm lucky as in exercise is my outlet. I'm also a fairly small boned, but if I were to train someone who was curvier and they were like, why don't I look like you? I'd be like, well, one, don't compare. Two, you don't know how long it took me to get here and love. And, you know, three, this is my job sort of thing. But even that, then they'll look on Instagram and there'll be someone who's paid to look that way, or someone who looks great, but you don't know, like, it took years. Like, even I've compared myself to PTs, and I heard something Joe Wicks said recently where I remember doing some of his exercises a few years ago, but his journey to where he is now was long and hard. And like, you just see, people seem to erase in their minds. It's like, you have just started. Yeah. Be kind, be patient, and the biggest thing, don't compare.
Yeah, like, exactly. And for some people, it like you said on Instagram, for some people, it takes years, but sometimes not even years. It's just taking 100 pictures to get the right one. You know, they are standing there for half an hour to get the right picture to look that way.
I know, it's so funny. People go, oh, it looks like you're being really active. Now, my mum has had to learn how to take pictures. I am just home, like my cats, like there's no one else. So I will do a workout, and I think one was me trying to do a handstand against a tree. Oh, that must have taken a while. Oh, we must have done. Oh, it's still. I'm like, no, I was in a bad mood. I was still changed. I had to get my mum to take the picture. I was like, the reality behind what you see.
Yeah.
So even I put one recently of hula hooping because I got one and I find it fun.
It is, and it's a great exercise as well.
Yeah, my dad always comes in though, so I just posted one of him coming in because I'm like, you know, this is a reality. So,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you've just got to be honest with it. Like, it's not that glamorous. I feel like turning around the camera afterwards, going, someone talking to the cats, or my mum trying to mime at me, or pretending to do it with me and pissing me. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I have the same, even with doing this podcast. Like, I have a desk, and normally, not at the moment, but normally my partner is across me, and sometimes he makes those silly faces, and I have to concentrate, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm posting this as well on YouTube, but luckily podcast in general is just a voice, so you're only listening to it. But I'm like, oh my God, if you're looking on YouTube, then sometimes you probably will see my face like holding in my lap, or looking weird, or looking extra concentrated, because I'm like, no, I need to focus.
Or your eyes suddenly going like,
yeah. Or I had it the other day, and I was like, no, go away, like, just shut up. I'm trying to listen over here and to have a conversation. But
you have your cat.
It happens. Oh, my cat. Yeah, my cat also, he walked past by, and I was like, oh my God. Luckily, it wasn't a podcast at the moment, but I was just having a conversation with someone about the podcast. So you meet them for the first time, and it's like, again, my cat, like, with his tail in my face, and I'm like trying to, you know, go around his tail to look in the camera. It's just, but that's life. I mean, it happens. And even with my videos on social media as well, like, sometimes my cat are in them, and I'm like, yeah, you know, every time when I work out, they are there. Like, it's like they know.
We love it. If you do yoga, my cat's always like, I've had to shut them out for some of these lockdown workout videos I've done, because they like to get in the way and go, oh, you kicked me. I'm like, no, you were getting in the way. Or people will, I think I did a yoga one just to give someone an introduction and put it on YouTube, and they said it was good, like, but they were like, your cat, we couldn't stop looking at your cat stole the show. I was like, yeah, maybe I should get them out sometime.
Yeah, but it happens, and nothing is perfect, and I think that's the beauty of all of it. Like, it is not perfect, and we just have to do what we have to do and do it, and not hold ourselves back because we want everything to be perfect. even when it's on your weight loss journey as well. Like, even if you want to have a perfect day because you want to eat healthy, perfectly healthy all day, like some days are just not like that. And you have to be okay with that and not get discouraged and just get yourself back into it the next meal, you know, instead of stopping completely, because that's what I've been doing in the beginning, because I was like, okay, now I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to work out every single day, and then I didn't work out for one day and I will beat myself up, and I was like, shit. And then I was like, well, it doesn't matter anymore, you know, I threw everything out the window, I would eat that. And then I'm like, then you're like, okay, I'll start tomorrow. But then the tomorrow starts Monday, and that Monday is next month, and then next year, and before you know it, the year has gone by. And it's just expecting that everything is not going to be perfect.
It's like the all or nothing approach. A lot of people do that, and I think the idea of starting, and I think it's just making little changes, not even starting, because I've been ill, and I mean, I don't worry about like particularly what I'll weight I put on, but I've gone pastry mad this week. I love a good pastry. Almond croissants, pecan pastries, just anyway, gone for it. And the only reason I stopped, and pizza obviously, was not because of the calories, that's good for ill, but because that amount of carbs makes me feel mentally bad, because all the energy is going towards digesting it. So I get so moody, and I think, you know what, I don't care about what I've eaten. I just go, okay, like, I've done it now, done. I think when you take a break, people forget, don't they? Like one day off, and it's like, actually, that is where the magic happens, the resting. That's where your body muscles are getting stronger, your body's recovering. So resting, actually, when I started out, I did exercise every day, got exhausted, got moody, kind of went decline. 2 weeks off, thought I'd quit, as in I wouldn't go back. But I felt so much stronger after that. And then I went back and was like, oh, like it didn't matter. So it's hard though, because I don't think even whatever approach I would take to a client, that I would be able to stop them from fully thinking, oh, I failed, I messed up. I was just there to remind them, no, you didn't. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Keep going. Have a break. You know, it's okay to have a break. You need a break. Like you said, your body needs to rest. Your body needs time to repair itself. So yeah, definitely. So what is your biggest lesson on your health journey? What you've learned?
I think the biggest one is like that saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It doesn't happen overnight. Like it's one of those songs I think of, nobody said it was easy. Like what I've gained mentally and physically from this is tough. I've lost friends, relationships. I've it wasn't just because of exercise, but the journey of it all was tough. And I did dip in and out of doing it, but then your lifestyle changes and it all falls into place. But it's not quick, it's not easy, and only you get to decide if you're worth it. Like nobody else does. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's why I want to do this personal training focused on mental health. So obviously people will look better for it. It's still exercise, but to give a hand to hold sort of thing, to be like on the days where they can't do it because their mind is attacking them, or to just be kind and help them be kind to their mind, so that when they come back to it, they feel more inclined. So because it's not easy, I think help is needed.
Exactly. Definitely, we need that support, we need that guidance, we need that help. In the beginning of my own journey, I didn't have support, I didn't have help, but once you have it, it's easier, and it also feels like you have someone that you I want to say that you feel responsible, or no, how do you say it?
Like, hold you accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, because then you're like, if someone is looking after me, then I have to do it. It's kind of like proving other people wrong. Could be a motivator. I mean, that's been a motivator for me sometimes. But it doesn't matter what motivates you as long as you are doing it, right?
Exactly. The reasons change as you go along.
Yeah, exactly. So when people want to work with you or just want to ask you some questions when it comes to mental health or mental disorders or how you want to call it, how can they find you?
Well, at the moment, I have spent this year trying to be more tech savvy. So I, on Instagram, that's the one I really started on. It's found me on passionatepursuit.ig. Facebook is passionatepursuit.fb. And I have a website, which is passionatepursuit4life.com. And next year, I'll be launching services. I will be just as new to it as other people, not the actual bits, but just learning how to do things. I really hope people who do struggle with mental health, I'm now a mental health first aider too, that I'm a PT which will be affordable. There'll be many different options, and also someone they can trust, that I won't be like, no excuses on their bad days, but also just people who want to start out on a little uneasy and don't know, I'll be on the same boat, so I can help them out too. But those are the best places to find me, and I'm sure if you find me on either one of those social media platforms, you can message me.
Okay.
I'm very good at being in contact because I do not have a big influx of emails.
No. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter as long as you're impacting people's lives and helping people's lives, and when you come from the right place to do it. And I really know and believe that you are one of those persons, like I am, to give a tap on my own shoulder. But I believe we come from the right place for really wanting to help people find their right way.
Exactly. It's not easy. I will not lie. This has not been easy at all.
No.
Obviously, still at home. But the thing that drives me is that I feel like my purpose is to help others. And if it can help me from where I was mentally, then it can with others. And I know it will work. And I'm often put myself down. So if I say I know it will work, it will work. And
people I'm just encouraging people to follow you, especially via Instagram, because I love your videos, especially now with the lockdown. You're doing home videos, and they are just they are funny. They are good and they are funny, and that actually gets me motivated as well. Like I'm like, okay, she has fun with working out, so can I. Yeah,
exactly. I'm so glad. I'm getting used to that too, working out my camera. Got a little lighting box there now, so I'm going to try and work that out. So they can only get better too. So definitely encourage people to follow and get involved.
Yes. Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for this conversation. And I'll leave everything in the description so people can find you, and they have to find you and they have to follow you.
You have to.
You have to. No, you don't have to, but it will definitely help you get started or get you motivated to live a healthy.
Exactly. Healthy and happy.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.